The Rams have given Stafford's agent permission to speak to other teams about his market value. The sides are discussing a new contract right now. It's all going to come down to money. You see Peter Schrager, who's very close with Sean McVay. I believe they host a podcast together, or at least at one point did. The relationship's still fine, according to Schrager, but Stafford wants $50+ million per year. Think about $50 million+ per year. That's unbelievable. Like I open my bank account and I'm like, oh, all right, like nice. I got the paycheck in. I can go do something. $50 million a year, just unbelievable.
You're right now being a TA. I'm making like $50 per year.
$50 million. So currently Stafford's getting $40 million a year, and his agent Jimmy Sexton's going to go out there and see what other teams would be willing to pay him on the market. So a few questions come into play. It's like, would Stafford go there? How much would teams be willing to pay the Rams in a trade? A lot of conversations have to be had before we can really boil this down to where Matthew Stafford could go. And Albert Breer said at least 4 teams have thrown their name into the ring, their hat into the ring for Matthew Stafford. So let's talk about this, guys. First question I wanted to ask you, is Matthew Stafford a quarterback at this point in his career who's worth $50 million to you?
Yeah.
Easily?
I mean, I think he's we said most episodes on the show this year that the Rams are dangerous because they have him. Like, the Rams are a top team because they have him. Stafford's the best quarterback in the NFC West. Stafford's arguably the best quarterback in the NFC. You take Stafford off the Rams, they're not a concern. Stafford being on the Rams single-handedly is the reason that we're picking them as our teams you don't want to see, teams that could make a run. When you have somebody as good as Stafford, and this is rare, I mean, I'm going to group him in here, and I'm not comparing him and saying he's as good as guys like Lamar, and I'm not doing that. But I feel like you can take a guy like Matthew Stafford, put him on any team in the NFL, besides the Jets, because they stink. Put him on any team in the NFL, and you can be like, okay, now with Stafford, this team can make the playoffs.
Yeah.
So somebody like that, yeah, I think it's worth it. Super Bowl champ.
The quarterbacks who make 50... Oh, sorry, Ziggy. The quarterbacks who make 50... Oh, I'm sorry. What's going on?
What I say is going to be complimentary there.
Go ahead.
So look, $50 million sounds like a whole bunch of money, and I can understand why you think it is. He currently makes $40 million a year, right? You know what? On average value per year, that puts him ranked of quarterbacks in the NFL.
Where?
Take a guess.
8th.
No, 40 million? I like 17.
Yeah, he's 15th.
Oh, really? Wow.
So when Jack is describing Matthew Stafford here, and I think that's right, as one of those guys who's a difference maker, you're about to list off some names. $40 million a year means you're getting paid like an average NFL quarterback. And we'll talk more about it moving forward, but he is not an average NFL quarterback this year or next year, I think.
Look, when you look at the quarterbacks who are making $50 million per year or more, you have Dak at 60. The 55 club is Burrow, Love, Lawrence. Then you have Tua and Goff at 53, Herbert and Lamar at 52, Jalen Hurts at 51, and then you drop down to Kyler, who's at 46.
I mean, I think Stafford...
yeah, right?
Like, don't you think he's better than all those guys besides, like, Lamar and
Burrow.
Burrow?
Right?
Yeah.
That's it. And it depends what you think on...
Hurts, actually.
Depends what you think on Hurts or Herbert, but, like, it's still... He's very clearly in that group of players. So I'm totally with you, Jack. I think you nailed it here. Like, the Rams have an open window right now. Kyron Williams is great right now. Puka Nacua is great right now. That defense, with all the young guys who came together, should be great next season. If Matthew Stafford's not there, they're not winning the Super Bowl. And I don't even know, like, with Aaron Rodgers, I don't think they go that far with... I think Stafford's much better than Rodgers right now.
Yeah, they were division champs. Where'd they go? They beat Minnesota and then lost...
They lost in Philly. Remember, they were what? They were
right,
two Jalen Carter monster plays away from going to the NFC Championship and hosting Washington.
I thought they were going to win in Philly too, but I think
if it wasn't a snowstorm,
I think Stafford is so worth that 100%.
Yeah. So here's the thing about Stafford, though, that I think is easy to miss and why the Rams got here, why they didn't want to hand him a big deal last offseason. He's 37 years old, and you look at someone like Tom Brady and think, well, maybe Stafford's going to be able to play longer. Drew Brees hit a wall at 37. Kirk Cousins was 36 this year. Ben Roethlisberger, Jack can tell you what happened when he turned 37.
He hit the biggest wall.
Like, there is a wall that guys...
That guy went from like 100 to 0 real quick.
That was unbelievable.
So the worry, and I think why Matthew Stafford, why the Rams are considering moving off for him, is if a team's willing to hand him a deal, if you're the Giants, you're desperate for a guy, and you're willing to hand Matthew Stafford a deal for $100 million guaranteed over the next 2 years. If he's willing to take a retirement paycheck, sure. I can see why the Rams don't want to do that. They are not going to negotiate against a team like the Giants or the Raiders if they're desperate. I think it makes sense for both sides to try and stick in the framework of the current deal. Do what the Rams did last year where they negotiate on a year-to-year basis. But it's extremely risky, no matter how good Stafford has been for the past few years, to guarantee him more than a year's worth of money. Because we've seen when you hit this age, guys like Peyton Manning, Matt Ryan, Ben Roethlisberger, usually things get really bad really fast.
I think you're seeing more and more in sports right now.
Yeah, Ben was just horrendous.
I think you're seeing more and more, though, that guys like Brady and LeBron are the outliers, right? Everyone's starting to think that you can play into your 40s, and most guys can't.
But like
it just doesn't work like that.
Seems like an in shape dude. I mean,
he can still throw.
Yeah, you look
like Ben's arm.
Big Ben was just. You saw that guy didn't work out. He didn't do anything.
Ben's arm was completely shot. Like Phillip Rivers' arm, his went as well. But Ziggy, you really? So you wouldn't pay Stafford $50 million? Like for next year?
I would happily pay him $50 million for next year, and I think the Rams are willing to pay him a lot for next year too. But if you look at the negotiations, Stafford wants 2 or even 3 years guaranteed. That's my worry. I don't want to guarantee him $150 million.
I mean, if I'm the Steelers, go ahead.
I was going to say, are the Giants or the Steelers or the Browns or the Raiders, like all the teams being linked, willing to do that? I don't know. The Rams shouldn't be. They're too young and have too bright a future.
The Steelers, I believe, are the favorite to get him in the odds, aren't right?
I think they are currently. But Ziggy, I don't understand that. Why wouldn't you? You have a bright future and a great team right now. I feel like if you're the Rams, the window's there.
Like, why not keep your good quarterback?
Because you don't want to throw away 2026 and 2027 on a giant Matthew Stafford deal.
I mean, if I'm the Steelers, I'd give him $100 million trade Watt.
No,
you give him a 2-year, $100 million extension
and trade TJ Watt. Yeah,
you would not do that.
100%.
No.
Because watching
TJ Watt is your Patrick Mahomes.
No.
You
but that's the problem.
Patrick Mahomes.
But that's the problem. You can't have your Pat Mahomes on defense. We've seen it for the last 3 years now. Not having a quarterback after watching Big Ben for years is the most brutal thing in the world. I don't care how good TJ Watt is. I would get rid of him for Stafford in a heartbeat. 1,000%.
We got to clip that.
Yeah, that's great. Do you think with Matthew Stafford, immediately Super Bowl contenders, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
With TJ Watt, we're not. I trade Watt for Stafford immediately.
The defense would plummet, but I agree with you.
No, but now the NFL today is an offensive game.
I think out of the teams that we've been talking about too, Steelers, these are all the teams that are interested. The Steelers, Titans, Jets, Giants, Raiders, Colts, Browns, you said, Ziggy. Like, Pittsburgh's the only one there that is even close to the level of the Rams for Stafford to compete to.
We're a contender with Stafford.
Like, no, you're a contender. You're a nice situation for a quarter. I think you need some more weapons. But if you go out there,
we draft Ibuka. We have Stafford, Ibuka, and Pickens.
That's you get rid of Watt. You give Stafford now. Ziggy, would this be giving Stafford's current deal? If you give him a 2-year, $100 million, you would do extension for so that he's now under.
Stafford wants this year rewritten because there's no guaranteed money. He wants a lot of money this year and then next year too.
Yeah, so you'd give him a 2-year, $100 million deal.
Yes, and I would trade TJ Watt for him. Yeah,
I will say this though. I know the Steelers are the team that he's being linked to because they'll be good. You can go back and check my solo video on this. The Giants are closer to being contenders than people think. The Giants had basically every good player except Malik Neighbors injured last year. If they're willing to hand over the money, I think Stafford will really want to go there. I know they've been linked to speculation about hiring his brother-in-law. I don't read a whole lot into that, just like I don't read a whole lot into the Rams hiring Aaron Rodgers' best friend as their quarterback's coach. But I think going there can make a lot of sense if they're willing to offer the money, and it's not totally giving up on your career like going to the Raiders would.
How close do you really think the Giants are, Ziggy? Like, really?
The Giants have star power on offense. They get a lot better with Stafford. I think that's a borderline top 10 offense. They've got a defensive line with a lot of stars. If they can improve the secondary and the linebackers just a little bit, I think they definitely make the playoffs next year. Yeah, and then I think Stafford has shown he can go on a run.
I mean, a place like Pittsburgh will be much better for him than the Giants.
I think Pittsburgh is better. I don't think they're as better as you think because I think Malik Neighbors solos George Pickens. Malik Neighbors is one of the best receivers in the
Pickens
NFL.
is great.
George
Pickens is
Oh
also
yeah,
three
Pickens is a
games
very
year.
good receiver. I think Pickens is so underrated. It's crazy.
But this is the thing with Matthew Stafford. No matter who you drop him into, you're like, oh, I could see a world where they like the Colts. You know, if you drop him into the Colts,
That's what I was saying
with,
before.
with Pittman and
Yeah.
Jonathan Taylor, like most places, like you said, yeah, exactly. With Watt, if you have the quarterback, most teams are not that far away once you get your guy. Like, I
Yeah.
mean, that's the whole thing with
A
with Stroud
quarterback
and the
is
Texans.
the most
What
important.
is he? What is he doing?
Is there a reason why there's a giant cursor on my face?
Producer Zach comes back, just flamed from Ziggy. Flamed.
All right, let's move on.
All right, that's good. That's good Stafford conversation right
Yeah,
there.
I would
like that.
trade.
I like that
I
Watt.
would trade. I'd give him $200 million trade Watt.
All right.
What I would do? Get me a quarterback again, please.
Well, you guys
Please.
feel like you do
I-
just feel
look,
like you're stuck in this hell.
TJ Watt's great. I love watching him force fumbles and get sacks. Great, we get the ball on our offense, can't do anything. Give me Matthew Stafford.
If Matthew Stafford does leave, do you think this Alex Van Pelt hiring signals that AR-12 is heading to LA?
I think Rodgers would 100% go to the Rams if Stafford left LA.
Rodgers, he stinks. He's done.
I think I don't know if the hiring would signal it to me, Ziggy. Like it's something that I'm
I
definitely
mean,
paying
did you
attention
see
to.
the reaction from Rodgers when Van Pelt left?
No, I don't
He was
remember.
furious.
But
Yeah, no, you can look up the story. He said that he wasn't consulted, that he loved Alex Van Pelt. It was really silly. It was Aaron Rodgers being a drama queen. But I do think he likes Van Pelt. And the Rams are the best situation Aaron Rodgers could possibly go to realistically this offseason.
yeah, other than maybe
We
the
ain't
Vikings.
taking him.
Yeah, but no, I think he would. California guy, play with McVay. Again, I think the Rams are in a position where even if they draft a young guy, McVay might look at this and go, hey, I could get 1 year of Rodgers, like 1 year of great Rodgers while we bring up the next guy. And the team around him is ready to go. So I definitely think Rodgers would then end up in LA. But my guess is Stafford remains a Ram. That's
Yeah.
where I put my money right now. And I'd be really surprised if they let him go.
I think he's a Ram or a Steeler.
I don't think, I think that's where I'd place my money too. If you gave me Rams, Steelers, or the field, I'd probably go with that.